I was standing in line at the pharmacy when I saw her. My daughter, 36 years old, a registered nurse at St. Mary's Hospital, married to a man who supposedly made 6 figures in real estate. And there she was, digging through her purse, counting out crumpled dollar bills and loose change on the counter like she couldn't afford a bottle of children's Tylenol. My heart stopped. I stepped out of line and walked toward her. She didn't see me at first. Her hands were shaking as she counted. 87 cents short. The pharmacist was giving her that look. You know the one, that pitying, impatient look that says, "Ma'am, there's a line behind you." "Lily?" She spun around so fast she knocked half the change onto the floor. When our eyes met, I saw something I hadn't seen since she was a little girl, waking up from a nightmare. Fear. "Mom? What are you doing here?" I could ask you the same thing. I bent down and picked up the scattered coins, then pulled a 20 from my wallet and handed it to the pharmacist. "Keep the change." Lily grabbed the small paper bag and tried to smile. "Tyler has a fever. I just needed some medicine. I was going to pay you back." "Sweetheart, where's your car? Where's Daniel's BMW?" She wouldn't look at me. "Lily, where is your car?" "Daniel needed it for work. His car is in the shop." "For how long?" "A few weeks." "So how did you get here?" She swallowed hard. "The bus." "The bus?" My daughter, who lived in a $500,000 house in Willow Creek, was taking the bus to buy children's medicine with pocket change. "Where's Tyler right now?" "He's at home." "With Patricia." "Patricia?" "My son-in-law's mother. The woman who smiled at me during holidays while her eyes told me I wasn't welcome at her table." "Lily, look at me." She finally did, and that's when I noticed it. Her scrubs were faded, not just worn, but old. The same ones she'd had 3 years ago. Her wedding ring was gone, and there was something else. Something in the way she held herself, smaller, like she was trying to disappear. "We need to talk," I said. "Not here. My car is outside." "Mom, I can't. I have to get back. Patricia will be upset if I'm late." "Patricia can wait." "Get in the car." For a moment, I thought she'd refuse. Then something broke in her expression, and she nodded. We sat in my Honda Accord in the pharmacy parking lot for almost an hour while she told me everything, and with every word, my blood ran colder. "It started small," she said. "Little things. Daniel suggesting she let him handle the finances since she was so busy with work. His mother offering to help with Tyler so Lily could pick up extra shifts. They were just trying to help," he said. "She was working too hard. Let them take care of things." Then her credit card stopped working. "Fraud protection," Daniel explained. He'd get it sorted out. In the meantime, he'd give her cash for whatever she needed. But the cash got smaller. $40 a week, then 20, then nothing. "I asked for more money for groceries," Lily said, her voice hollow. "Patricia told me I was being wasteful. She said she'd handle the shopping from now on. She'd buy what Tyler needed." "What about your paychecks?" Lily's hands twisted in her lap. "Daniel set up direct deposit into our joint account when we first got married. Then, about a year ago, he said we needed to consolidate everything for tax purposes. He moved everything into an account with just his name on it. He said it was temporary. Let me guess. It wasn't temporary." She shook her head. "Sweetheart, that's your money. You earned it." "I know. I tried to change it back, but Daniel said if I did, he'd tell his lawyer I was hiding assets. That when we got divorced, and I would lose Tyler." Her voice cracked. "He said Patricia would testify that I was an unfit mother, that I was never home because I was always working, that Tyler was more bonded with her anyway." I felt something hot and sharp rise up in my chest. 28 years as a family court administrator. 28 years watching men like Daniel try to weaponize the system against women like my daughter. And now it was happening to my own flesh and blood. "Lily, that's not how custody works. That's not how any of this works." He showed me papers, Mom, from a lawyer. It had all these things listed. Evidence of abandonment, evidence of financial irresponsibility. He said if I tried to leave, he'd destroy me. She was crying now. He said no one would believe me over him. He's a successful businessman. I'm just a nurse who can't even manage her own money. That's a lie. He's been stealing your money. I can't prove it. Yes, you can. And you will. She grabbed my arm. Mom, please. You can't say anything. If Patricia finds out I told you, she'll call Daniel. And if Daniel thinks I'm trying to leave, he'll take Tyler somewhere I can't find him. He's threatened it before. His college roommate lives in Costa Rica. He said he'd take Tyler there and I'd never see him again. I took my daughter's face in my hands. She was 36 years old, but right then, she looked like the scared 8-year-old who came to me after those kids at school said she was stupid. Listen to me very carefully, I said. I spent almost 3 decades in family court. I've seen every trick these men try to pull. And I promise you, Daniel and his mother are not as smart as they think they are. We're going to get you and Tyler out of there. But I need you to trust me. Can you do that? She nodded, tears streaming down her cheeks. Good. Now here's what we're going to do. You're going to go home like nothing happened. You're going to smile at Patricia and thank her for watching Tyler. You're going to be the perfect, obedient daughter-in-law for exactly 1 more week. And while you're doing that, I'm going to gather everything we need to bury them both. Understand? Mom, you're scaring me. Good, because Daniel should be scared too. The next morning, I drove to Willow Creek, not to confront anyone, just to observe. The house was a beautiful colonial on a tree-lined street, white with black shutters and a wraparound porch. I'd helped them with the down payment 4 years ago. $40,000. A gift for my daughter and her new husband. I parked across the street and waited. At 9:15, Patricia came out the front door with Tyler. My grandson, 6 years old with his mother's brown eyes and his father's blonde hair. He was carrying a backpack. Patricia loaded him into a silver Mercedes and drove off toward what I assumed was his school. At 10, Daniel left in a black BMW. Not in the shop, apparently. For the next 3 days, I watched. I took notes, I took photographs. Daniel left every morning at 10 and came back around 6. Patricia picked Tyler up from school every afternoon. Lily, as far as I could tell, was never home before 8. She was working doubles, probably triples, all that money going into an account she couldn't touch. On the 4th day, I made some phone calls. My former colleague Brenda still worked at the county courthouse. She owed me a favor from way back. Nothing illegal, just a little research. The house on Maple Drive, she told me that afternoon, purchased 4 years ago. Title is in Daniel Morrison's name only. Your daughter's name isn't on it. We gave them $40,000 for the down payment. Both of them. I'm sure you did. But legally, it's his house. I felt sick. But I also felt something else. Clarity. What about his business? Morrison Real Estate Investments? Incorporated 3 years ago. He's the sole owner on paper. But here's the interesting part. His mother, Patricia, is listed as the registered agent, and the business address is the same as her home address in Tampa. So she's involved. Up to her neck, from what I can see. I thanked Brenda and hung up. Then I called my nephew Marcus. He's a forensic accountant for the IRS. We don't talk much, but when I explained what was happening to Lily, he was more than willing to take a closer look at Daniel's finances. What he found made my stomach turn. Your daughter has been making about $72,000 a year for the past 3 years, Marcus told me. According to the bank records I was able to pull, every cent has been deposited into an account solely in Daniel's name. He's been paying her nothing. That's over $200,000. $216,000, give or take, plus interest. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Daniel's real estate business, it's basically a shell. He's got maybe 3 rental properties, all heavily mortgaged. His income last year was maybe $40,000. Most of his money comes from your daughter's salary. I was quiet for a moment. What about the mother? Patricia Morrison owns her house in Tampa outright, worth about $800,000. She also has a substantial investment portfolio. Nothing illegal that I can see, but she's definitely been helping Daniel maintain his lifestyle, probably co-signing loans, covering his shortfalls. She's been bankrolling the whole operation. Can we prove that Lily's wages were taken without her consent? With the right documentation, yes. The direct deposit changes, the account transfers. If she can testify that she didn't authorize any of it, that's financial fraud, possibly coercive control, depending on how your state defines it. Thank you, Marcus. Aunt Eleanor, I've seen a lot of bad people in my line of work. This Daniel guy? He's not just greedy. He's systematic. He planned this. You be careful. I intended to be more than careful. I intended to be thorough. The following Tuesday, I invited Patricia to lunch. I told her I wanted to discuss plans for Tyler's 7th birthday party. She accepted, though I could tell from her voice she'd rather have had root canal surgery. We met at a nice restaurant downtown. Patricia arrived in her Mercedes, dressed like she was going to a country club luncheon, pearls and all. "Eleanor, how nice to see you," she said, kissing the air near my cheek. "Patricia, you look wonderful as always." We ordered salads and made small talk. She told me about her garden club. I told her about my book club, two women who couldn't stand each other, pretending to be civilized. Then I set the trap. "I've been thinking about doing something special for Tyler's birthday," I said. "Maybe a trip. Disney World. I know it's expensive, but I have some savings set aside." Patricia's eyes flickered. "That's very generous, but I'm not sure Daniel and Lily can take time off right now. They're both so busy." "Actually, I was thinking maybe just Tyler and me. Grandmother-grandson bonding time. We could go during his spring break." "I don't think that's a good idea." "Why not?" "Well, Tyler has activities. Soccer, piano lessons. He can't just disappear for a week." I smiled. "Patricia, he's 6. I think he can miss a piano lesson. It's not that simple." Daniel has very specific ideas about Tyler's schedule. "We can't just disrupt everything because you want a vacation." And there it was. We. She said we. Not Daniel and Lily. Not Tyler's parents. We. As in Daniel and Patricia. "I see," I said. "Well, perhaps we can discuss it with Lily, see what she thinks." Patricia's expression hardened for just a moment. Lily defers to Daniel on these matters. She's very supportive of his parenting style. His parenting style or yours? The mask slipped. Just for a second. But I saw it. The contempt. The possessiveness. This woman didn't see Tyler as her grandson. She saw him as her property, her do-over, the child she could raise the way she wanted, with none of the interference from his actual mother. "I don't know what you're implying, Eleanor." "I'm not implying anything. I'm just a grandmother who wants to spend time with her grandson. But it seems like I need permission from everyone except his mother." Patricia set down her fork. "Lily is overwhelmed. She works too much. She's not equipped to make these kinds of decisions. That's why Daniel and I step in. We're protecting Tyler." Protecting him from what? His own mother? From chaos. From instability. Lily means well, but she doesn't have the capacity to give Tyler the structure he needs. We do. I leaned back in my chair and looked at this woman. Really looked at her. She believed every word she was saying. In her mind, she wasn't a controlling monster. She was a savior. She was the stable, capable adult in a sea of incompetence. And Lily was just an obstacle to be managed. "Thank you for lunch," I said, standing. "This has been very informative." I left her sitting there with her pearls and her certainty, and I walked out into the afternoon sun with a plan fully formed in my mind. 2 days later, I met with Rebecca Chen. She was the best family law attorney in the county, and she'd been a young clerk in my office 20 years ago. When I called and explained what was happening, she cleared her afternoon. "Financial abuse is grounds for immediate protective action," she said after reviewing everything I'd gathered. "The wage theft alone is substantial, but combined with the coercive control, the threats about custody, the isolation from family support, this is textbook. What about the threats to take Tyler out of the country?" Rebecca's expression darkened. "That escalates things considerably. If we can document that threat, we can get an emergency custody order, possibly passport restrictions. Lily told me about the Costa Rica threat directly. She'd be willing to testify. Good. Now, the house. Even though her name isn't on the title, she may have claims. You said you provided the down payment? $40,000. I have the canceled check. Do you have any written evidence that the money was intended for both of them?" I thought for a moment. "I have a card. I wrote it when I gave them the check. It said, 'For Lily and Daniel to start your life together.'" Rebecca smiled. "That's helpful. Very helpful. Now, here's what I recommend. We move fast. We file for divorce on Lily's behalf, request emergency temporary custody based on the flight risk, and petition for an immediate freeze on all joint assets. We hit them before they know what's happening. How soon? If Lily can come in tomorrow to sign paperwork, we can file by Friday. She'll be here. Getting Lily to agree was harder than I expected. She was terrified. Years of being told she was incompetent, that she couldn't make decisions, that she'd lose everything if she tried to leave. Those words had burrowed into her brain like parasites. "What if it doesn't work?" she whispered when I picked her up from work Wednesday night. "What if he really does take Tyler?" "He won't." "You don't know that." "Yes, I do. Because we're going to beat him to it. By the time Daniel realizes what's happening, Tyler will be safe with you. Your assets will be frozen, and he'll be facing criminal charges for fraud." "Criminal charges?" "Sweetheart, he stole over $200,000 from you. That's not a civil matter. That's theft." She was quiet for a long moment. Then she said something that broke my heart. "Mom, do you really think I can do this? Be a mom on my own? Daniel always said I wasn't capable, that I needed help, that without him and Patricia, I'd fall apart." I pulled the car over to the side of the road. I turned off the engine, and I took my daughter's hands in mine. "Lily, you are a registered nurse. You care for sick and dying people every single day. You make life or death decisions. You hold families together in their worst moments. And you've been doing all of that while these people have been stealing from you, isolating you, and telling you you're worthless." I squeezed her hands. "You are the strongest person I know. You just forgot, because they spent 5 years making you forget. But I remember, and I'm going to help you remember too." She cried then. Really cried. The kind of crying that comes from years of holding everything in. And I held her in that car on the side of the road and let her let it all out. Friday morning, Rebecca filed everything. Divorce petition, emergency custody motion, asset freeze, flight risk documentation, and a referral to the district attorney's office for financial fraud charges. By Friday afternoon, Daniel's accounts were frozen. All of them, including the one with Lily's wages. By Friday evening, a sheriff's deputy served Daniel with papers at his office. His mother was served at her country club in Tampa. I wish I could have seen their faces. Lily was at my house when the calls started coming. First from Daniel, then from Patricia, then from a lawyer none of us had ever heard of. "Don't answer," I told her. "Let it all go to voicemail." Daniel's messages started angry and got angrier. How dare she do this? After everything he'd done for her, did she have any idea what this would do to his business? His reputation? Patricia's messages were worse. Cold, vicious, calling Lily ungrateful, calling her mentally unstable, saying she'd testify in court that Lily was an unfit mother, that she'd make sure Lily never saw Tyler again. But there was one message that made everything worth it. Daniel's third voicemail, left around midnight. His voice was different, smaller, scared. "Lily, please. We can work this out. I don't know what your mother has told you, but this isn't what you think. I love you. I was just trying to protect us. Please call me back. Please. Protect us." That's what he said. As if stealing her wages and threatening to kidnap her son was protection. The emergency custody hearing was Monday morning. Daniel showed up with an expensive lawyer and his mother by his side. Lily showed up with Rebecca Chen, me, and a folder full of documentation that would have made a federal prosecutor weep with joy. The judge reviewed everything. The direct deposit records showing Lily's wages going into Daniel's account. The bank statements showing she had no access to any funds. The text messages where Daniel threatened to take Tyler to Costa Rica. The sworn statement from my nephew documenting the extent of the financial fraud. Daniel's lawyer tried to argue that it was all a misunderstanding, that Daniel and Lily had agreed to this arrangement, that she was exaggerating. Then Rebecca played the recording. Lily had started recording conversations on her phone 2 months ago. "Just in case," she said. She didn't tell me until after we filed. In the recording, Daniel's voice was clear. "You think you can leave me? You think anyone will believe you? I control the money, Lily. I control where Tyler goes to school. I control everything. Without me, you're nothing. You can barely dress yourself in the morning." The courtroom was silent. The judge granted Lily emergency sole custody of Tyler. She ordered Daniel to vacate the family home within 48 hours. She froze all assets pending a full forensic accounting. And she referred the case to the district attorney for criminal investigation. Daniel tried to approach Lily as we were leaving. "This isn't over," he hissed. I stepped between them. "Actually, Daniel, it is. My daughter has a restraining order in her purse. You come within 100 feet of her or Tyler, and you'll be explaining yourself to a judge again. Only this time, it'll be a criminal judge." He looked at me with pure hatred. "You did this. You poisoned her against me." "No, son. You did this. Every stolen paycheck, every threat, every time you told her she was nothing. You built this trap yourself. I just showed her the way out." We walked out of that courthouse into the morning sun. Lily was holding Tyler's hand. He didn't fully understand what was happening, but he knew something had changed. He kept looking up at his mother with those big brown eyes, as if seeing her for the first time. "Mom?" he said. "Yes, baby? Are we going to live with Grandma now?" Lily looked at me. I nodded. "For a little while," she said, "until we get our own place. Would you like that?" Tyler thought about it. "Does Grandma have a dog?" "No," I said, "but I hear there's room in my backyard for one. If your mom says it's okay." Tyler's face lit up. "Mom, can we get a dog, please?" Lily laughed. It was the first time I'd heard her really laugh in years. "We'll see," she said. The universal mom answer. But she was smiling when she said it. 6 months later, a lot has changed. Daniel pleaded guilty to financial fraud to avoid a trial. He got 2 years probation and was ordered to repay Lily every cent he stole, plus interest. His real estate business collapsed. Last I heard, he was living in his mother's guest room in Tampa, selling insurance. Patricia tried to file for grandparent visitation rights. The judge denied it, citing her role in the financial abuse and her documented attempts to alienate Tyler from his mother. Lily got the house in the divorce settlement, along with half of Daniel's retirement accounts and full custody of Tyler. She sold the house last month. "Too many bad memories," she said. She used the money to buy a little cottage closer to my neighborhood. 3 bedrooms, a big backyard, and a fence for the golden retriever puppy Tyler named Sunshine. She's back to working regular shifts now. No more doubles, no more triples. She picks Tyler up from school every day. They have dinner together every night. And every Sunday, they come to my house for pot roast and Scrabble. Last weekend, after Tyler went to bed, Lily and I sat on my back porch watching the fireflies. "Mom," she said, "I never thanked you properly. For everything. You don't need to thank me. You're my daughter." "I know, but I spent so long believing I was broken, that I couldn't do anything right, that I needed someone else to take care of me." She took a deep breath. "You showed me that wasn't true. You gave me my life back." I reached over and took her hand, the same hand that used to grip my fingers when she was learning to walk. "Lily, you gave yourself your life back. I just reminded you that you could." She smiled. "Same thing." We sat there in comfortable silence for a while, listening to the crickets and watching the sky turn purple. "You know what Tyler said to me yesterday?" she asked. "What?" "He said he's glad we live near Grandma now, because Grandma is the strongest person he knows." She laughed softly. "He said you're like a superhero, but instead of a cape, you have a really big purse." I laughed too. "Well, he's not wrong about the purse." Lily leaned her head on my shoulder. "He's not wrong about the superhero part either." "I don't know about superhero. I'm just a mother who saw her daughter counting coins at a pharmacy counter and decided that was unacceptable. I'm just a grandmother who refused to let her grandson grow up watching his mother be erased. I'm just a woman who spent her career watching families break apart, and when it came to her own family, said not on my watch. That's not a superpower. That's just love. The stubborn, relentless, refuse to give up kind of love that mothers have been practicing since the beginning of time. And if there's a lesson in all of this, it's simple. Don't wait. If someone you love is being hurt, don't wait for them to ask for help. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait until you have all the answers. Just reach out. Just show up. Just say, I see what's happening, and I'm not going to let it continue. Because sometimes, that's all it takes. One person who refuses to look away. One person who says, enough. For Lily, I was that person. And I'd do it again in a heartbeat. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a Scrabble game to prepare for. Tyler's been practicing his vocabulary, and apparently, he's determined to beat his grandmother this week. He won't, but I love that he keeps trying.